Friendship, for example, is a real gift.
It's an insane world. In it, there is one sanity, the loyalty of old friends.
You're the best friends anybody ever had.
Lone bad friend, good.
Bubba was my best good friend. I had to make sure that he was okay.
Friendship and family, these are the things that matter.
Can we just become best friends?
Yep.
Touch my friends again and I'll blind you. Thanks, Mike. You're my best friend here.
Lose one friend, lose all friends, lose yourself.
We ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life.
That's what friends are for, right?
Friends? Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
If you're not over here in 15 minutes, you can find a new best friend. You've been saying that since the 5th grade.
What up, my dogs? Welcome back to the I Am Your Friend podcast. This episode is sponsored by nobody because we still haven't hit 50 monthly listeners, but we'll get there. Our guest today is our friend Lexi. You may know her as the lead vocalist for the band Spaced, who is taking over the world. Hey, Lexi.
Hey.
What's going on?
Nothing. I'm just hanging.
That's good. How you guys have just been hitting it so hard lately with Space, just like tell me about it. What's going on? How does it feel to just like hit it super fast? You know what I mean? You guys put out an EP and then just fucking hitting the road.
Well, so like this is my first band.
Right.
As you know, but most people
Sure.
might not know. And like Donnie, Dan, John, and Joe have all been in bands before me. So like the surrealism, I don't know if it hits me as hard as them because they've tried this before and it hasn't like done anything
right.
for them. But like Space is obviously doing a lot better than we expected.
Sure.
So it's crazy. I don't think it really set in until this past Saturday. We played Sticks and Stones Fest in Worcester.
Right, which is the Newfound Glory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just like, first of all, I don't really get nervous before our sets. But that one I was nervous because it's like there's a stage. We had a barricade for like us is insane.
Right.
And it just like definitely felt like a Warped Tour type of situation. So I was like, holy shit, I'm playing Warped Tour.
Right. It looked like it. Yeah. It was nuts.
But like, obviously once I get up there and like start doing my thing, it just like goes by and I'm
Sure.
just like so used to it at this point. And then I'm like walking off the stage and all of a sudden I see Chad Gilbert just standing there behind the fence because he kept getting stopped by people and he like wanted to hide so he could watch our set. So he was like, hey, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like, that's Chad Gilbert. And
Damn.
at first it didn't really like settle in because you could just see from like here up.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's no other just like random white man just just like jump out and like be like, hey, what's up?
Right. Well, there might be.
I mean, yeah, but like...
No. For everybody that doesn't know, Chad Gilbert is the guitarist and main songwriter for Newfound Glory.
Yeah. And like Chad, since literally day one, since the demo came out, Dan, I think, sent it to him on the Space Instagram. It was like, hey man, like, big fan. My band just put out this demo. Like, I know you like hardcore here. And like, we just did it to be silly. And like, he literally answered it and like posted on his story and was like, you guys are really good. Like, I'm looking forward to see what happens with you guys. And has like genuinely like kept up to date with us. And then asked us to come onto this festival. So like, that was just really cool. And while he supported from like behind a screen, actually seeing him support in person was like, oh, he likes us.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just him being a nice guy. And he was just like talking to all of us. And like, I felt very comfortable talking to him, but like Dan and Donnie and like all of them were like, oh my God,
yeah,
it's
of course.
Chad.
Yeah.
And like, Dan was like, I was nervous. Like,
right. Yeah, of course.
He didn't know what to say to him. And I was like, I mean,
I would feel the same. I wouldn't really know how to, I mean, cause Newfound Glory for me, like, you know, the first like 2-3 records that they put out, like I was like 8 or 9 years old, you know, and like they had such a lasting impression on me. So like, I don't know, when you meet somebody from like that was like a childhood hero, it's like insane. I mean, that's like when me and Dan met Blink, you know, like I literally did not say a word to like it was like a photo op thing, and like we stood in line and like went and took a picture in front of a thing and everything, and I literally like I'm between Mark Hoppus and Travis Barker, and I did not say a word.
I would have thrown up.
Yeah,
and, like, I don't even like Blink that much.
Out, dude. It was nuts. I mean, and it's crazy now to like see like Travis Barker on like the Kardashians.
Dude, Dan and I were just watching the Kardashians last night.
Dude, I like it. It's a funny show.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But like to me, like obviously, like, I love New Found Glory, and like a lot of bands that I look up to in like pop punk and hardcore, like, to me, for some reason, they're all just some guy. Mostly because I picture myself as just some guy.
Sure. That's saying every week on this podcast, I'm like, thanks for listening, because I'm literally nobody. You know what I mean?
Like, and I've gone to, like, when I went to see Turnstile, like, in Queens, Brooklyn, and Philadelphia, like...
You saw Turnstile 3 times?
4 times. I saw him in Toronto. Love that band. Favorite band.
Oh, man. I wish I would have gone to see him in Cleveland.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry, but they're so good.
I know, and it was such a dumb choice not to, I think I just couldn't swing it, but it was such a dumb choice not to go because they're just blowing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could totally see them being on like an arena tour with some like opening for somebody huge. The nice thing
is I feel like this was just like the first leg of like Glow On album release tours, because like they hit all A cities.
Right.
So like I could totally see them coming to Buffalo and playing Riverworks.
Riverworks? You think they would do? Did they do the Agora in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they would.
Dude,
do
they were
Riverworks.
playing like.
Dude, that's crazy.
They played the Phoenix in Toronto. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, but
It's just
familiar.
like a big club.
Yeah.
But when I went to those shows, like I saw people wearing Spaced merch, and like people would come up to me and be like, "Oh my god, like I love you guys." And
sick.
And all my friends would be like, "Oh my god, you're so famous." And
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
huge.
I'm just some guy.
Yeah.
I'm literally just some guy who happens to be.
That's literally only ever happened to me once.
It's weird.
Like I think I was working at Best Buy, and some random kid was like,
"I've got a notice at my job."
Oh, it's weird. It is weird. This random kid was just like, "Are you in post prom?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I saw you guys play at Mohawk Place a couple weeks ago." He's like, "You guys are super good." And I was like, "Thanks. Can I help you find a TV?"
Yeah.
You know.
But like, so people like coming up to me, it just never really has like phased me too much, because I'm just like, oh, they just like my music.
I mean, it feels amazing.
But
you know what I mean?
and obviously I'm very like. If some random person comes to me and is like, "Dude, I love Space," I'm like, "Wow, thank you," because like, you don't have to listen to us. You don't have to listen to my band. You don't have to pay attention to us, but you do.
And especially in today's world of just like, there's thousands of things to listen to, and somebody took the time to listen to what you made is like, it feels awesome.
And it's like the coolest when it's like, especially being like down in like New York City or like New Jersey and like Philadelphia, where like I'm not from.
Yeah.
And like we play there every now and then, and like people will be like, "Oh, I saw you here. Like you made an impression on me so much that I listened to your music and I like you and I know who you are now." And that's like, what?
I mean, when I saw you guys play at that DIY spot down in like the industrial park, whatever that was, I remember being just like, I like transcended. It was nuts. It was a very like emotional experience. I will remember it vividly forever, of just like, wow, this is like happening. You know what I mean? Like, this is legit, you know? Because I mean, I've known you for like, I was thinking about this morning, I've known you for like 8 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I've known you longer than Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's nuts to think about. But just like, I don't know, your progression as a person has been nuts, because it's like when I met you, you were like an indie girl.
Oh yeah.
You know? And like, you know, just like we were at the radio station in Fredonia and just like trying to find your place in the world. And then like, I remember you found like state champs, and like that like changed everything.
It did.
You know? And then, I mean, this is not to like make fun. This is like, we all went through this, you know what I mean? And so it's like, you're like 19 and it's like, oh yeah, the state champs, this is, you know, you start as an indie alt kid. Like that same thing happened to me when I was like, I mean, obviously I loved like Blink and like New Found Glory when I was a kid, but like in high school, I was like a sophomore. I loved like, you know, Passion Pit and MGMT and like Young the Giant and Vampire Weekend. Like those are my shit. And then like junior year is when like I discovered like the Story So Far and, you know, went like that way, and then got more into hardcore and things like that. So like it's a progression. So like watching you do that. And I remember when, I don't know, towards like the end of my college career for doing is when you started to get into hardcore.
Yeah.
And you always talked about wanting to be in a band and like learn bass and like all this stuff. So to hear it was actually going to start happening, I was like, oh, sick, she's finally doing it. And then going to the show and just being like, and just knowing you for that long and seeing you just fucking own the performance. Like you just owned the stage. I mean, stage, quote unquote. It was on a brick.
The parking lot.
Yeah, it was in a parking lot. But it was like you owned it, man. You had everybody's attention and everybody... just like watching like all of our friends just smiling ear to ear, just like seeing this like amazing thing happen. And it's just like, you're a star, dog.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's sick.
Thank you.
I love watching it. And then let's talk a little bit about around the Tid the season. So you guys did a set at Rec Room with what bands were on that? I know Buried Alive was the headliner.
It was Buried Alive, and like Scott booked all the bands. It was like Buried
Scott
Alive.
Vogel from Buried Alive and Terror.
Yes.
Very legendary hardcore guy. Originally from Buffalo, moved out to California for a while, back in Buffalo.
Yes, very, very wonderful guy. But it was like Violent Way, Pure Heal. I'm blanking. I think Gathering Ground. And it was like a 6 or 7 band bill.
Yeah.
And the show started late because it was like, it was at Rec Room.
Right.
So I was like exhausted. I unfortunately don't remember any of the bands, but it was a really good show. But that was like, I think we played Buffalo prior to that, but like that one felt like the first hometown show in a while. And like Scott being there and like some other like iconic like people in hardcore were there, so I was like, gotta be on my best behavior. Yeah. And we had a really good set that night.
That's awesome.
But I remember what happened is I called the crowd pussies. And apparently that resonated so much with Scott that he was sitting next to Jay Zabricki, and I guess he turned to Jay and he goes, "Did she just call them pussies?" And Jay's like, "Yeah." And Scott goes,
"Yeah, she did."
And Scott was like, "That's awesome."
Nice. And
I think that's when I gained his respect. And then during the Buried Alive set, it was a bunch of like older people, like dudes like who wanted to throw down for the first time in a while. So I was like not trying to get my shit rocked. So I was like standing at the edge of the pit, and he looks at me and goes, "Spaced, get up here." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." And I went up there, and Donnie goes, "Stage dive and get out of here." He's like, I don't want to see you hurt. And I was like, "Okay." So I stage dove. And that like set off everybody stage diving.
Oh, nice.
So Scott was super appreciative of that. And if you've ever seen Terror, like his thing is he wants people like crowd surfing stage diving at all times.
He hates barricades.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw Terror was on the Story So Far self-titled tour in 2015 at the Ballroom.
Yeah.
And I remember like having no idea. Like I had listened to Terror because my buddy Neil that I grew up with loves Terror. And so me and him actually went to the show together, and so I had no idea what to expect. I had never seen. This is my first time ever seeing like a hardcore band, besides like shitty post-hardcore bands that I saw at X Wheels in like 2011. But it was absolute fucking mayhem. It's nuts. And there's a barricade at the Ballroom, but Scott just like jumps down and like stands on the back of the barricade, and like it's so funny because there were so many like pop punk kids there that like were not prepared for what was about to happen. And I was just off to the side just watching it all. It was nuts.
And the Story So Far has obviously become such a well-respected band, especially in the hardcore community, that like they have like gained that traction. But like I can only imagine that.
Right.
But so after the set, I like went up to him and I said to Donnie, he's like, "I want to introduce myself to Scott just to be like, hey, thanks for having us on this." And I was talking to him, and like it was just like a quick chat, and then I left because I was so exhausted. And apparently he went up to our merch table and was like, "Where's Lexi?" And I think it was Joe and Rob were there, and Rob's like, "Oh, she just left, like she just had like a really long day." And he goes, "I want her to do guest vocals tomorrow at Tid the Season when Buried Alive plays." And so they were texting me that, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But like Scott was also drunk, so I wasn't sure if it was like legible or not.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Well, he was drunk, maybe he didn't mean it.
In the morning, I was texting Donnie, and I was like, I mean, like if the offer still stands, I'm totally down to do it. Like I will learn lyrics to a Buried Alive song right now and drill it into my brain and be ready for their set. And like I think it was like around 3:00 where I was like kind of sweating, like thinking it wasn't going to happen, blah blah blah. And then Scott was like, "Yeah, like what song do you want to do?" And I picked Poison Seeds, and I just like did a quick guest spot in that, and I went up and I did the guest spot, and like Brett Bureau from Exhibition also did a guest spot during their set. And it like me and him, I like walked into Riverworks and I saw Brett, and I like ran to him. I was like, "Are you doing guest vocals for Buried Alive?" He goes, "Yeah, are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm freaking out." And he like had his phone up to his ear. He's like, "I'm trying to remember the words right now." So like me and him were both like shitting our pants on the side stage. And then afterwards we like were like, "We're so cool, man."
Right, of course,
we're so cool.
I would be shitting my pants.
But like at that point, that was like the most I've ever performed to, which was like I think,
it's like 3,000 people. Yeah.
And like, so that's why when
where did Buried Alive play? Like in the,
they were like, I think first or second.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So, yeah, I know. But that was like my first time performing in front of a lot of people. So it kind of prepared me for Sticks and Stones Fest.
Yeah.
In a way, even
Right.
though I was only up there for like a max of like maybe a minute.
I tell you, man, we were on, me and Dan were on tour with Super American when that happened. And when that video got posted, I was like, yo, like that is next level. Like it was crazy to see, you know, especially because like a few months ago, you were doing your first show in a parking lot. And now you're doing guest vocals with this absolutely legendary hardcore band, and it was just fucking nuts to see.
And like, I don't know if anybody from Every Time I Die watched, or like any of the other bands were watching. I actually do think I saw someone from Knocked Loose watching, and I was like, oh my god,
they are the nicest guys.
Yeah,
the guys from Knocked Loose. I when I would work the Tid the Season show as like stagehand.
Yeah.
The drummer of Knocked Loose was just the nicest dude. They had like a backstage area at Riverworks with like a bunch of tables for catering and stuff. So I was getting dinner the one time, and I was just sitting at a table by myself, and the drummer of Knocked Loose comes in, he gets food, and he's like, can I sit with you, man? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, of course you can. So he sits down, and we're like shooting the shit, whatever, and then like the rest of the band walks in and sees his sitting there, so then they all sit down. So it's just me and Knocked Loose having dinner. I like was such a huge, like this was like I had just became a fan of them, and I was such a huge fan, and like I just like didn't say anything, you know. Same thing with it, and I'm just like sitting there eating, just like listening to them talk to each other, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
I have a couple mutual friends with them, and like I've heard very great things about them, and like while I have never like personally talked to them, they just seem like genuine people. And
I love
like,
that band.
Like my favorite thing about Knocked Loose, and a lot of people don't like them because they have become more mainstream.
Yeah, everybody.
Stupid.
I see people talking shit about Turnstile.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Fuck off.
Yeah, literally. And I feel like they neglect to remember how much Knocked Loose has done for the Louisville scene.
Yeah, of course.
Like, there's a hardcore festival there called LDB Fest, which is like Life Death Brigade, which is a record label out there that basically signs all the Louisville bands. But they do a festival every year. And it started out just being like this small festival with like underground hardcore bands in like a skate place.
Right.
And now
very
it's like
similar to how the Tid the Season started.
Yeah, and it's become so much more since then. And like every year, like Knocked Loose is just always there.
Yeah.
And like I think Brian and his girlfriend Taylor, they live in Los Angeles now, and they still go back and are just so supportive of the Louisville scene. And like it's become such an iconic scene there that it's like hard to book there.
I don't understand how you can hate on that.
Yeah, even like Turnstile did so much for Baltimore.
Right. Like if someone bails on their scene, that's one thing, but it's like if you see that this band come from like a DIY scene, blow up to become like a mainstream hardcore band doing huge tours, and then still supporting their scene, like what are you hating on?
Yeah. And
you're just hating on success, and what the fuck is wrong with success? Like that's the whole reason anybody's doing this. Like why would anybody want to start this and put all of this work into it for the sake of like just losing money and playing for 10 people in a fucking DIY spot? Like
dude,
there is fun to that, but it's like if you get the opportunity to make money off of it and make a living off of doing what you love, why are you hating on that, bro? And that's huge, so big in the hardcore scene, and it just drives me nuts, and it pushes me away from the hardcore scene for sure.
That's why it took me so long to be more involved in hardcore. But like, if Jimmy Fallon's asking Space to be on Jimmy Fallon, I'm gonna do it. Like, I don't care. Like, that's cool.
Right.
That's so cool.
And they're not like changing for it.
No,
you know what I mean?
They're
like,
still the same.
Turnstile's going out there just doing exactly what they do. You know what I mean?
Like
on
their
late-night
performance
television,
in this past tour is exactly how it was when I saw them at Tid the Season in 2018.
Right.
And that was the last time I saw them before that.
Yeah.
So it was like, they're still the
I
same
forgot
group.
that I saw them there. That
was the best year of Tid the Season. That's a
yeah,
side note.
That was the...
It went from Vane.
Yep,
to
that was
Angel
the year.
Dust.
That was the year that I had dinner with Knocked Loose. Yeah,
it was Vane to Angel
the
Dust.
The guys from Vane are super cool too.
Yes.
I ice skated with them.
It was like Vane, Angel Dust, Turnstile, then Knocked Loose. So it was just like back to back to back, me getting my shit wrecked, but in the best way possible. But like I was just talking about this because we played shows with this band Ankle Biter that we're friends with. They just put out a demo. Shout out to them. Super good. They're like popping off, and it's amazing to see because they're such good friends of ours. But I was talking to Evan and Nick in it, And Evan and Nick have been into like hardcore forever. So we were just talking about it, like how things are changing in the scene. And I was like, if you can't get with the fact that hardcore is becoming more mainstream and becoming more popular and more inclusive, then get the fuck out.
Right.
Like, I have seen it.
Isn't that what it's always been about?
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? Like, I don't get that.
I hate when people are like, oh, there's no non-men on this bill because there's not enough bands for that. I just played a show last Sunday where it was an 8-band bill and 4 out of 8 of the bands had women in it or like non-men in it.
I think you see it more in hardcore than any other genre.
Yeah. And like, it's super cool because like I obviously being a non-man like man and like a girl in a hardcore band have like met so many cool people.
Yeah.
And like have seen so many cool bands. Like we've played with Gel, we've played with Jive Bomb, Ankle Biter, and like there's bands like Scowl and Power Alone and Buggin' and like all of these super cool bands that like even like Buggin' and Scowl, who I really look up to, like have acknowledged space and like listen to us and pay attention to us. So I'm like, holy shit, that's so cool. But like, it's times are changing. Yeah. Get with it or get out.
Hell yeah, dog. You got my support.
Thank you.
Yeah. Shout out Space. It's so sick to see. I'm gonna be a supporter forever. Obviously, that was a weird thing to say. Like as if like you guys would lose my support in any way. It's all of my friends. Yeah. We're gonna just start beef for no reason. Yeah. Do you ever feel like because it took off so fast, like you were saying earlier, like it's definitely probably more surreal for you than it is for the other guys, but it's still surreal for them, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially because like, you know, of playing in when you played a band for a long time, it doesn't get anywhere, you know, to start a new band and have it take off immediately, it still has to be like a crazy thing to experience. Do you ever, I have to imagine you get like crazy imposter syndrome of being like, why am I here? Like, is this like as if like you're fooling people.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I'm literally just some guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear this, but I guess during our set on Saturday at Sticks and Stones Fest, someone shouted to me, "I love you," and I didn't hear it. And like my friend was like, "Dude, someone shouted that to you." I was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
Like,
so you guys were on first or second?
Second. There was a local opener, Five Ever, which is a very great band. They were so much fun.
Cool. I the pictures I saw, like you guys had a huge crowd. Like good for a second band on like that long of a day. It was like 3 to 11. Wasn't it? Yeah.
I read an article from like a local newspaper in Worcester, and the guy like mentioned how the vibe and just the day felt like Warped Tour.
Oh, so sick.
It was, and I'm not even joking, like the energy in the area just like felt like you were just at Warped Tour, which is so cool. It was shorter than actual Warped Tour, but like from the second we came to load in to the second we loaded out and like left, like it was just like positive energy everywhere. Like the bands that we played with, so nice. We played with Action Adventure, who they're on the like Pacific tour that we're doing in like a few weeks. The nicest group of people I've ever met.
Yeah.
And like 2 of the guys in it, Brompton and Adrian, found out they were 4 Year Strong standees. So it was like, nice. Guys, we gotta go stand side stage. And it was just me and them like having the time of our life. And this guy came up to us and was like, "I'm having so much fun watching you guys have so much fun." And then like Cliff Diver, who is on tour with Carpool right now.
Yep. Yeah. I saw.
And
I have not listened to them, but I've been seeing people like stand
so
the
fun.
hell out of them.
Yeah.
So yeah. I have
they
to check them
like
out.
introduced themselves to us and were like, "Yo, Stoff like told us about Space, so like we wanted to come say hi."
Nice.
And it was just like the nicest people, and like they're from Oklahoma, which is where Promcore / Act Like You Know It Fest is that we just were playing, and it just got announced. So I was just like chopping it up with them, and they were just like, "Oh my god, we're so excited for like Promcore and Act Like You Know It. Like we're so excited to see you guys again." Blah 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 blah. So it was just like such positive and happy and just wonderful energy throughout the entire day. And like just leaving, I was like, damn, that was sick.
Yeah.
And like if that's how it's gonna be from now on, holy shit.
Right.
And like we have the Lake Pacific tour at the end of the month, and then we're going to Europe in August. So
yeah, dude, insane.
With Comeback Kid.
Absolutely insane. Yeah, with Comeback Kid too. Yeah, huge band. Yeah, that's nuts. I remember when that got announced, and we were like having like post prom was practicing for a cover show at Lloyd, and I was like, we've been a band for 5 years, and John's new band is going to Europe, and we're practicing to play 90s songs at a taco restaurant. No, but it was just like hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, what the fuck? But
I don't even know what it is.
I'm not saying that out of like, you know, it's just like a hilarious.
It's just to put it in his perspective. Yeah.
Right? Just like,
well,
so
like
funny.
Dan like had Kill the Clock for so long, and then Funeral Coat, and now
it has to feel amazing for those guys.
Yeah, and like Dan's also in Super American, so he's like in 2 pretty successful bands right now.
Totally.
So he's just like living the life.
Yeah.
And
I know. And him and I have been talking about starting a project for a while of wanting to do something, but it's just like, you know, it's I'm like, dude, you're in 2 bands that are both just touring back to back to back all the time. So it's like nothing's happened yet, but it's just funny that he's still like, even with that happening, he's like, I still want to do a project, like another project. You know what I mean? Like his creative energy just doesn't stop.
That's the other thing is that, like, everybody always says like, oh, you don't want to be in a band with someone you're in a relationship with. I have so much fun when Dan and I are on tour.
Well, yeah, but you and Dan are not every other
That's
couple.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, it's true. Like,
but like that's the best part about it too, is because like when he's on tour with Super American, like I'm home, like doing nothing. So it's like cool to be able to experience these things with him. Like he got to open for one of his favorite bands.
Yeah, of course.
I was able to be there for it.
Yeah.
And like we were standing side stage for Newfound Glory, and I was feeling sappy, and I was like, man, I'm so glad we got to experience this together.
The special thing about Dan is that with all of his like creative energy that he has and all of his artistry, he has like no ego. And that's what I think the difference is, where it's like, you know, if you're talking about being in a relationship with somebody in a band where you're looking at like the White Stripes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's 2 people with gigantic egos.
Yeah.
You know, where Dan has no problem taking the back seat to let somebody else shine, you know, and I think that's the biggest thing.
He won't let us drive the van, but he will let us shine.
Does he he drives the van?
He like
I was thinking about that because I think I'm going with you guys on a 3-day thing at the end of this month.
With the Canada dates?
I have no idea.
Oh, those are going to be fun.
Dan was just like, we need somebody for these 3 dates. And I was like, well,
I think that's what it is, yeah.
All right. I think I'm playing the first show. And then doing merch, I think, for the next 2 shows.
Yeah.
But I'm just stoked to go. But I was thinking about that last night, actually. I was driving home, and I was like, I wonder who drives.
Oh my God, Dan.
Because when we're a Super American, Pat Feely, he's the only one. He doesn't like, he likes being the one to drive.
I think that's how Dan is. I think he just likes to be able to drive and like be in control of it.
Yeah. I'll do it, but I'm way too anxious.
See, like all of us are willing to drive, and Dan's like, no, I want to do it. He has like in this past run, I was able to drive from our hotel to the Palladium.
Yeah.
So a nice 30
Yeah,
minute drive.
I would do some of those where it was like from the venue to the hotel. If it was like a 45-minute drive or something like that.
And I was like, let me do it. Well, I was jokingly sitting in the front seat, and he's like, sure. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I will say it is pretty intimidating driving that huge ass van.
His dad's van? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And like when you have a trailer attached to it too, that was
no.
That's the Super American thing. They got that and a trailer, and you're just like, oh, all of these people's lives are in my hands.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not a trailer. It's so funny because when we played on Long Island recently, we played with Broken Vow, who's like, they're our friends. And me and Dan were in the van, and I actually didn't tell anybody from Broken Vow about this, so if they're listening, I'm sorry. But they were like trying to park their van, and they had a trailer.
Oh,
and, like,
it's so hard.
And Dan was like sweating in the front seat because they almost like jackknifed their car.
Yeah.
And Tommy's like, yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Oh, no.
And Dan's like, no. And I was like, do you want to go out and help them? He's like, no, I want to see them perfect this. And they did.
That is, I think, the most stressful thing about touring with a trailer is parking.
It was
Especially
just
when
so
you're playing,
funny
like,
though, because
on the last
like,
one we did 2 New York City shows, like on Manhattan or in Manhattan. I don't know how they fucking
I think
works.
it's in,
but it's still an island, and they say on Long Island.
I don't know.
So it doesn't make sense. Dude, my allergies are fucked right now.
You want an allergy pill? I got one in my car. They're prescription.
I already took one.
All right.
No, we're good. I just like don't want these like gross noises to be coming through. But yeah, touring in a van in a trailer is fucking exhausting. But,
yeah, I'm dreading that day.
Yeah.
Like,
do you guys get hotels or?
We try not to. This past run we stayed in a hotel just because like we had the money and like we're able to afford it. But we try to like stay at other people's houses, and like I think we're just like we just love sleeping in beds.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
like
of course.
if we have the chance to get a hotel, we're like, yeah, we're getting a hotel. Like, I don't mind sleeping on floor, but man, sleeping in a bed and then having a clean shower.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing better. I know.
I'm just not about that. Like, I obviously, like, I love hardcore, but like, I'm not punk.
Right.
Like, at all.
It's tough.
Like, I love being clean and sleeping in a nice, cozy bed with fresh sheets.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same. I try not to, like, it's tough, but I was thinking about that because, like, the next Super American Tour, because, like, that last one, like, I pretty much showered every day and, you know, slept in a bed every night, and I'm like, I gotta, like, I feel like, I don't know, I'm like, maybe sometimes I should sleep on the floor, and maybe, like, I shouldn't worry about showering so much, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I try so hard not to be, like, especially in that band where I'm just, like, the merch guy, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be, like, stepping on anybody's toes or, like, you know, doing anything like that, so I try not to be too pampered, you know?
Yeah.
But it is nice. Sleeping in a bed and taking a shower every day is amazing. Don't take it for granted.
I mean, I do, like, if we sleep at a house, I'm like, I call couch.
Yeah.
And the guys are willing to give it up for me anyways. But, like, I will sleep on the floor if I have to.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, it's so nice.
Yeah.
I do think for when we're in Canada, I think we have a place to stay in Ottawa. But it's, like, one of my friends' houses. So it's, like, I'm trusting them that it's clean.
I got this thing on Amazon that's like this little inflatable sleeping pad. And it like has like these weird things in it. So when you like sleep on it, it like morphs to your body. Ooh. And it's rolls up into this little bag. It was $20. It rolls up into this little bag, and then you just like extend it, and you can blow it up literally like with your mouth. You don't need a pump or anything that. And then it just like, it's just this little thin pad, and it's so nice.
Yeah,
to
I
sleep
have a
on.
foam pad.
Yeah.
But also my sleeping bag is like super comfortable. My mom is so funny because like my parents like are not really like sure how the whole like touring thing goes.
Yeah.
And my mom just sent me a text. I think it was while I was out last week, and it was like this like sleeping bag, but like a suit. She goes, you should get this. And I was like, Mom, you just bought me like this very nice sleeping bag. And she goes, you can even take your feet out so your feet don't get warm. And
that's nice.
It looks really comfortable.
I'm definitely a person who likes to sleep with my feet out.
But like I like the security of a blanket and being able to just like take a leg out.
Right. Totally.
But yeah, it's so funny when I talk to like my parents about like what it's like touring, because they're like, this makes no sense to me.
No, same, yeah.
And like
it's an insane thing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It is nuts.
My dad's starting to figure it out. Like randomly when we were out with Jive Bomb and Guardrails in August, he texted me and was like, I just watched the podcast you were on. I'm so proud of you. And I started to cry. Just because
it's always
like,
good to hear.
Me and my dad, we have this relationship where like we obviously love each other, but like we will not say it / show affection to each other.
Is your dad Irish?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's Dutch.
Just curious.
Yeah, I know. But like he is very loving and supportive of Space and like everything I do.
Yeah.
But like hearing that, I was like, oh, he kind of gets it.
Yeah.
And then when I came back from this past round, he goes, that show you played at the festival, there was a lot of people watching. And he's coming, both my parents are coming to the show in Buffalo on the Lake Pacific run. And my dad's like, you have to give me a shout out.
Yeah.
I was like, obviously.
Nice.
And I was like, I'll give both of you a shout out. My mom goes, you don't have to give me one. And I was like, don't be like that.
Every time you talk about your parents, they seem very similar to my parents. For sure.
For sure. Your mom and my mom would be best friends.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I don't like tell my parents about like anything. Because I don't know. Because it's just like some things are just like that is just like hard for them to understand. It's hard to explain, you know?
Yeah.
And same thing, like, you know, I started doing stand up recently, and I had my first show. And I like just didn't tell my parents about it because it's just like, it's like stand-up's such a weird thing to explain to people who like aren't like avid fans of it, you know. And so like they had to like find out like through my brother and stuff. So it's just weird. Like
my parents think that the concept of us going on tour and not making money for ourselves is so strange.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's just fun.
Yeah, it's what you have to do. It is nuts that it's like, to be like actually making money in music, like it just doesn't happen until you are literally like where Turnstile's at. You know what I mean? Where you're like,
I was thinking about it this morning, and like, so because like I'm going to school right now for education, and this is my last year coming up, And I just told my mom yesterday this. I was like, I don't think I'm going to go right into teaching.
Yeah, no.
She was like, why? Like, there's so many options. Like, people, they need teachers right now. And I was like, as much as you're right, but like, I have this opportunity that might never happen again.
Follow the universe.
And I was like, I'm going to probably substitute because I can pick my days and hours when I want to do that and work on my master's. But like, if space is like at the point where we're touring constantly, I'm going to be touring constantly.
Absolutely.
And like my mom was just like, okay.
Yeah.
And I think once it happens, they'll get it. But my mom and my dad are just like, I don't get it.
Yeah. I know that's been the hardest thing, and especially because like, you know, I living with my parents and getting to, you know, 27. Anytime I want to try to tell them anything, because I'm such a person that's just like, follow your gut.
Yeah.
You know, trust the universe. Put your faith in the universe and it will reward you. That is like, I'm a firm believer in that. But my parents are all about trust what's going to give you the most security. And I'm like, fuck security.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want it.
I'm living on Medicaid right now. I'm just ignoring any
Medicaid is literally better than the health insurance I get from my job.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. I like am able to go to the doctors. I actually think I need to check and see if I have eye insurance because I definitely need contacts.
Yeah.
But like I'm just like ignoring any like minor health issues right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll get to it when I have actual insurance.
Sure.
And then I'm like, when am I gonna have actual insurance?
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, my health insurance fucking blows. It is crazy because it's like on paper, my salary looks great. Like it looks like I make good money, but it's like our insurance, our benefits plan fucking sucks.
Believe me, I remember that insurance.
It sucks,
Eye and dental was great. Health, no.
Yeah, I totally forgot you worked there.
Yeah, like for a year.
Yeah. But yeah, man, just like what comes out of my paycheck is nuts. And then yeah, and I'm like commission based and shit, so it's like, again, on paper it looks like I make a lot of money. My actual take home pay is dog shit.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm still here. But it's tough, man, living with like trying to get my parents to understand like in like trying to be a creative and like living the dream and chasing the dream is all about high risk, high reward, you know. So it's tough trying to get them to buy into that. So I get that. Yeah.
I think my parents are starting to come around to it. Like Dan's parents are so supportive of it.
Yeah. Totally.
And like if my parents,
I mean, it's not like my parents aren't supportive. I don't want to make them seem like that, but it's like they're all about like, I mean, since
it's just that generation.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Right. And that was my whole thing. Like when I was like 16, 17 and the conversation about college started to happen, they were, you know, I was like, I don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
And they were like, why? And I was like, because I want to play in bands and like try to make it in music.
The idea of making teenagers figure out what they want to do for the rest of their life is
absolutely
awful.
Nuts, man. And that was just like, I was like so certain about it.
Yeah.
But they were like, well, you need a degree. Like you need a backup plan.
The only reason why I went back to school is because of the pandemic and I was alone with my thoughts for so long.
Yeah.
Like I would probably still be working at Ingram and like not being in space.
If cost wasn't a thing, I probably would have been back in school as well.
Yeah. Like I'm just like ranking up those loans more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the thing is with like, you know, our parents, like they obviously want the best for us, but it's truly impossible. I don't know about impossible, but it's very, very difficult for them to understand just how different things are.
Yeah. I think my parents kind of have it figured out because like my dad was like, I forgot what he said. He was like, at your age, like I was able to buy this, and this. I was like, Jeff.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of this thing called inflation?
Right.
And he goes, no, I'm joking. Like, obviously, I get it.
Yeah.
The minimum wage has not gone up as much as inflation has gone up.
Right. The housing market's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Rent is sky high.
Oh,
you know,
I was literally
gas price, like everything, like, and that's the thing is like I'm working this job where I'm getting a little bit more money every now and again. You know, a little bit of a raise, and then but like everything else is getting so expensive, and it's like holy fuck.
I just checked my bank account yesterday because I took all of our merch money out. Yeah. And I got really sad looking at my bank account. And then I like had to tell myself, I'm like, Lexi, it's just because you are making this X amount of money and everything else is going up.
Right.
I'm like, it's fine. It's normal.
Obviously, like, you know, sitting in this podcast room right now, I bought like nice equipment because it's like I'm putting all of my, you know, what is that phrase? All of my eggs in one basket?
Yes.
That sounds right. But yeah, I'm going full in on like trying to be like this content creator. Yeah, I love this shit, man. And I really like would love to dude, my allergies are fucked. Sorry, I probably sound ridiculous, but I would really love to like have this take off and like, you know, hopefully like the comedy thing's going well right now.
Yeah,
like,
no, dude, you killed it on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I forgot you were there. Thank you so much for coming.
It
was so strange. It was such a strange experience. Before I went up, my heart was literally pounding through my chest, which like obviously
the first guy was awful, and I was like, as soon as he went on, I was like, wow, he's gonna look amazing. This guy.
I was stoked that he was like bombing because I was like, thank God I have an opportunity.
Yeah,
to,
as soon as he said the boober joke, I was like, I told my coworker about that yesterday, and she goes, oh my God,
it was bad. Yeah, but my heart was pounding through my chest, and then I got up there, and it's so bright up there, and it's so daunting, and I just was like, I couldn't see shit.
Yeah,
it was just
so
like
funny because
staring
Gwyneth
into
was right in front of you.
I know, and I barely could see her.
Yeah,
like the lights are so bright, it's just like staring into an abyss. So I have no idea what I was looking at. I was just looking in like random directions.
You could just hear laughter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it was like. Adrenaline was like at 110%.
You did great.
So I was just like, I don't even remember going up there. So
yeah,
it was nuts, but it went well. But like straight up, like as soon as it got announced that like I made it through to the semifinals, I was like, imposter syndrome hit immediately because I was like, dude, I've only been doing this thing for a few months. Like,
yeah, but that's good.
I only won because my friends came out.
No.
Or like I just like my brain immediately went to like all these excuses of like, oh, this won't last.
Like obviously,
which is so fucked.
I'm all about supporting my friends and everything that they do, but like if they're good at it, I'm gonna tell them you were good at it.
Thanks.
And like. Stand-up is terrifying.
It
like
is.
I could never do it.
I love it.
I think that
I really do. I love it because it's like, again, it's going back to like a high risk, high reward thing. It's like there is a very good chance that no matter, like if I say everything word for word, it's just like the crowd's not feeling it, and I am going to eat my dick on stage. You know what I mean? Like it's just like not going to happen. And so when you get up there and like there's 100 people there, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's the most I've ever done in front of it. It's just you and a microphone, and there's no background music. It's just silence.
My anxiety.
You stop talking and it's silent. You know, it's so it's like when you get a huge laugh, it's like the best fucking feeling in the world. And like, so now I
love making people laugh, but I could never do it.
Yeah,
I'm so bad at making up jokes.
Right.
Like when I try to joke on like stage or like in front of people, no one laughs.
Oh my God. Well, when I'm playing a post-prom show and I try to be funny, like in between songs, nobody laughs.
Yeah,
because nobody's expecting you to be funny. They're not there for you to be funny.
I say something funny and everybody it's just crickets, and I'm like, damn, all right, I'll go fuck myself.
Yeah. And especially when you're a newer band, I think that's a common thing because people like don't know you.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're like. Is she being serious? Like, is this, I don't know what she's going for, So I feel like when bands are huge and you like know the members and and like they can say anything and you're just so excited that they're there that you're gonna laugh anyway. You know what I mean? John Vaughn, one of the funniest people ever.
Yeah. But like just will say things and you're like, John.
Yeah. I would every excuse me.
Drink some water.
I know, I'm trying out here.
But if you know John Vaughn, just that man just says things and you're just like, it's either like
John. The amount of times that comes out of my mouth. We had band practice last night and he was driving me nuts.
In the van, I always say like John's my favorite member of Spaced. Just because like he's just so funny.
Yeah.
But sometimes he says things, I'm like, sometimes you just open your mouth and you just shouldn't. But during Newfound Glory's set, Chad was just like, Chad is the most talkative person and just was like going on and on and on. And like he was telling a story about like his cancer and like very serious, but like at other times he was just like blabbing. And John goes, this is why you shouldn't give me a mic. And I was like, I think we should give you a mic.
Yeah. So what's funny about the Chad Gilbert thing is me and Chad Gilbert have the same cancer. So
really?
Yeah.
I think I didn't know that.
Yeah. So for anybody who I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before. It's usually not a thing I talk about because when you tell people that you have or had cancer, it's always like such a strange shift in energy in the conversation. But like I'm fine and have been fine for a long time. But I was diagnosed when I was 15. It's a genetic cancer. It's called pheochromocytoma. It's very rare. We had to go down to Bethesda, Maryland, like multiple times a year for me to get scans and shit at the NIH. Which is, one of like the most, that's the whole thing, like during the pandemic when like people were shitting on Dr. Fauci because it's like he was the head of the NIH and I knew the NIH because like that's where I got treated and everything. And the NIH is literally like the most prestigious research hospital in the world. So it's like for, some fucking hick in the middle of nowhere to be like saying
COVID's not real.
Right.
Shut
it's
up.
like, dude. Anyway. Shout out Dr. Fauci. I fucking love that dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when Chad Gilbert posted a thing about his his sickness or whatever, I'm reading through it and he's describing his symptoms.
Yeah.
And the first thing in my head was like, that sounds like Theo. And I'm just like reading, and then all of a sudden I see it, and it's like, and he's like, turns out I got this rare tumor called a pheochromocytoma, and I was like, what? Like, I was like, that is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it's so rare. It's such a rare disease, and this dude who's like, this guitar player in one of my favorite bands, like childhood
You share
bands.
a bond now.
I know. We have the same.
Bond.
I tried DMing him. Because I just I have so much information because it's like there's not a lot out there because of how rare this thing is. So I try to link them up with there's these support groups on Facebook that are really helpful. And there's this doctor at the NIH who's the guy.
Yeah.
His name is Dr. Patsak. He's this Czech dude. And he is that how you say it? He's from the Czech Republic. He's Czech. Awesome dude. He looks like Emilio Estevez and I love him. And, he knows so much and he's the guy to go see. So I tried hitting him up and trying to give him all this information and he never read it or anything. So
He's probably getting flooded.
Absolutely, yeah. So I should have told you guys to tell him. But
well, when we play with Newfound Glory again, which there's a possibility we'll have it again, you can come with us.
Yeah.
You can tell him face to face.
Yeah, just absolutely crazy. And I just wanted to get in touch with him just because it's I just have all this information about it and I wanted to help him out. But it's a crazy disease and it's nuts. I mean, my uncle died from it and my brother has it as well and I have it and it's crazy. That's why if you've ever seen me with my shirt off for some reason, if we were swimming or something, I got a gnarly scar.
I have seen it.
Down my belly that gave me 4 belly buttons. So I think the intern sewed me up or something. I don't know what happened there, but anyway,
he might have gone to the same hospital because he was he was very hyping up whoever took care of him.
Yeah,
he said his nurse was an angel.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm sure she was.
Yeah, I remember when I had surgery and had my tumor removed. I couldn't really move a lot, right? Because it was a core part of your body that they opened up. So, and I was 15, and I was laying in a hospital bed, and I was laying with my hands crossed. And I was just laying like this, and I when you can feel someone watching you. So I woke up, and there was just this nurse watching me, and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you just looked like such an angel." Aww. And I was just like, "Oh my god," just nuts. Yeah, crazy. That Chad Gilbert had the same thing. That blew my mind. I was hitting up anybody. I texted Fred. I was like, do you still have ties to Newfound Glory in any way? I'm trying to get this information to this guy, but he didn't. But
well, maybe we can do that for you.
Figure it out. I'm sure he's fine. I mean, he seems like he's doing all right,
he's doing great right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, John just loves to talk.
He does. He sure
loves
does.
That guy.
Yeah. He also loves coffee.
He does love coffee.
And he teaches me a lot about coffee. I see him once or twice a week when I go into the office, and I stop at Overwinter and get a cough from him, and it's always seeing him in the morning is always an interesting thing. But
he's so funny.
What I will say though, and I was saying earlier, is you brought us Starbucks, and as much as a coffee snob I am, I fucking love Starbucks coffee. It is so goddamn good.
Yeah, I'll drink to that one.
Cheers.
Vanilla sweet cream cold brew, amazing.
That's your move. I'm just a black cold brew guy because I'm a psycho. But,
that's okay.
Yeah.
I can drink black coffee if it's good coffee, Overwinter coffee.
Shout out Overwinter.
That shit rules. That shit smacks.
Yeah.
And John will bring his little AeroPress with him on tour sometimes, and he'll make me a cup.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I'm trying to be more and more of a minimalist on tour and just bring less shit again, especially because I'm just the merch guy. I'm trying to stay out of everybody's way. So I was on the last tour, I was going to bring an AeroPress, and I was like, I'm bringing so much shit. Cause I also film everything. So I have all my camera gear and stuff. And I'm just trying to keep the,
as being the front person of Space, I'm I got to make sure that my fits are always the coolest thing ever.
Of course.
And, I'm like thinking about this like Pacific tour because we've only done like weekend runs, so I could plan an outfit for each day. Now I'm like, I'm packing for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna obviously repeat outfits,
repeat
that's
outfits,
completely normal.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what am I gonna wear?
Right.
I just placed an order for like a Forever 21.
Nice.
So like I'm prepared.
Yeah.
Because as I was packing for this past run, I always text my friends Bron and Aoife like my outfits. That's like their favorite thing to look forward to before I leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, guys, I'm struggling. Like I perfected my winter wardrobe for space. The summer wardrobe is lacking.
Yeah. Well, the fit for the New Found Glory show was fire.
The tube top was a cute little tube top, but let me tell you, two-stepping in that, I was afraid.
It's hard.
I thought I was gonna flash someone.
Yeah. You
So I'm
can't
like
be doing that. Yeah.
So I'm never doing that again.
That's smart.
And I immediately changed into my Dolly Parton t-shirt. Like I have so many t-shirts, and I love my t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like I have like band shirts, I have K-pop shirts, anime shirts, just like funny graphic tees. But like t-shirts and shorts get boring, at least to me. For myself.
But if it's a sick shirt, like if you wear a Dolly Parton shirt out on stage, like as the woman vocalist in a hardcore band,
Dolly would love space.
Yeah,
I'm convinced. But
absolutely.
I always try to like have some sort of fun little top on. And I also have like this basically a half sleeve of tattoos. I want to show it off.
Right.
But it's hard when your wardrobe is just t-shirts.
I know. Yeah, that's my thing is like on this, on the Super American run that I'm gonna do next time. I'm thinking I'm bringing like 2 pairs of pants and like 3
for the one in
shirts.
September.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that long of a tour. It's like 3 weeks or something.
And that's the thing. When you tour with bands, you accumulate their merch too.
Right.
Like
and you bought, like, I go on the last tour, we hit so many big cities. I hit a thrift shop in every city.
We always try to like, we love going to malls.
Yeah.
I love going to a nice mall.
I got real big into thrifting on the last tour because a few of the dudes at Hot Mulligan were big on it.
Yeah. And I like to thrift. We just like haven't found the time to do it.
Yeah.
But like our main spots that we hit up are like coffee shops.
Yep.
Record stores.
Yep.
Bubble tea.
Okay.
Or a vegan place. Malls.
Nice.
Because malls have all of that.
Right. Yeah. I basically, when we're on the road, every big city, I try to hit a record store, a thrift store, or a coffee shop, and some sort of vegan restaurant.
Yeah.
It's so nice when you can find an all vegan place because like there's so few
Happy
of them
Cow,
that exist. Happy Cow's the best.
Literally,
Happy Cow when I'm on tour, every city we get to, I open Happy Cow. If you don't know, Happy Cow is an app where you can find vegan and vegetarian restaurants or places that have vegan and vegetarian options, which is like, it's not super...
It's not uncommon anymore.
Well, yeah, like pretty much everywhere has
I don't
want to
go somewhere and my only option is a Beyond Burger.
Right, because it's, but... most places have vegan options, so like as far as like options go, it doesn't have a lot. But just finding an all vegan restaurant is especially when you're somewhere like in like New York or Chicago, or these big cities, because there's so many of them, and you just find one close to you, and it's always a great experience. I love finding those.
I want to say it was like Harrison Street Cafe in Richmond.
Yeah,
I have a friend in Richmond, Chloe. Shout out Chloe. They came to the Richmond show when we played there. And I was saying how in the morning we like are probably going to try and find like a coffee place and like get some breakfast. And they were like, dude, you got to go to Harrison Street Cafe. The best vegan French toast. I swear and die by Amy's Place, LA vegan French toast.
Yeah. I've never been to Amy's Place, which is insane. Yeah. There's a lot of places that like as a vegan that I've never been there, but I've never had Fry Baby's Donuts. Yeah.
Anyways,
which I'm doing veganism shame.
Dude,
I've had their pizza, their vegan pizza.
Amazing.
It's nuts. It's out of this world. But I've never, because their donuts like you can only get them
at a certain time.
And it's like I'm never able to.
I always hit it up after like classes at Buff State because it's like right there.
Right. Once I move down to the Elmwood Village, I will be able to do that.
But so this place in Richmond had vegan brioche French toast.
Ooh. That sounds so good.
Me and Mon, who was on tour with us, she was doing merch for us. We were like splitting one, and me and her were like on the verge of tears. Yeah. And she was like, she loves baking, so she was like, vegan brioche?
Yeah.
French toast?
Yeah, it's nuts.
It was so good.
That's Pat and I when we were in New York went to this place called Ha Ha Ha.
Ooh.
But it's J-A-J-A-J-A. It's a Mexican restaurant. Mexican, all vegan Mexican restaurant. It was fire. And then we went there twice because we played New York twice. And we played New York and then played like a couple different cities and came back to New York. And what's great about when you're in New York, like there's just vegan restaurants everywhere.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to decide where to go, and Pat was like, let's just go there again. And we went again, and yeah, that place is super, super good.
There's like this place called Pancheros, which is like along the East Coast, and it's like a Chipotle style restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The best burrito I've ever had.
Yeah.
And we went there when we were in Connecticut this past weekend because it was just like there. And I was like, oh, I've heard good things about this place. They make the tortillas there.
Damn.
Like, I told the girl, I was like, yeah, can I get a burrito? And she literally just takes dough, puts it on this thing, and flattens the tortilla and, like, puts it on the grill for me. And I was like,
what is this place called?
Pancheros.
And where is it?
It's, like, along the East Coast.
Okay.
You'll probably, it's like...
Is it like a vegan place, or
they have tofu.
Oh, they just have a vegan...
Yeah, they have a vegan
items.
option. But,
cool.
like, the tofu is amazing.
Yeah, of course.
But there's also this place in Teaneck, New Jersey called Veggie Heaven. And it's just, like, Asian-style restaurant and, like... a full sushi menu of just vegan options.
That's insane.
It's so
what a
good.
dream.
It's literally my favorite place to go to when I'm in Jersey visiting my friends.
Nice. That's dope. And we can wrap this up, I suppose, because I don't want to run into more issues.
Yeah.
And, we've talked for about an hour at this point. So, Spaced. What is the Spaced social media handles?
I believe it's Spaced HC on everything. For Instagram, it might be Spaced_HC.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there's one with an underscore.
But Twitter is Spaced HC. I'm on Twitter. I manage the Twitter. John's does now too.
Yeah,
so if you see anything really weird, it's probably him.
Yeah.
And then like Donnie handles the Instagram because Instagram scares me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where you can find us. We should have new music out relatively soon.
Sweet. What are you putting out? How many songs is it?
I think we're putting out a single.
Oh, cool.
Within the next few weeks. And then probably 2 more songs before we head to Europe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. Shout out Women in Hardcore. Shout out Lexi. Shout out Spaced. Check out Spaced. Follow them on social media. Check out their music. Come see them on tour if anybody is listening to this for some reason outside of Buffalo. Check out their tour dates. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, buddy.